The 4 Agano-class cruisers were light cruisers operated by the Imperial Japanese Navy. All were named after Japanese rivers, larger than previous Japanese light cruisers. The Agano-class vessels were fast, but with little protection, and were undergunned for the size. They participated in numerous actions during World War II. The Agano-class was followed by the larger Oyodor-class cruiser, of which only a single vessel was completed. Background: the Imperial Japanese Navy had developed a standardized design for light cruisers as flagships for destroyer and submarine squadrons, based on a 5,500-ton displacement shortly after World War I. However, by the 1930s these vessels were obsolete, as contemporary destroyers were faster, carried more powerful armament, and had greater endurance. As soon as the restrictions of the London Naval Treaty were removed, the Navy General Staff developed a plan within the 4th Fleet supplemental budget to build 13 new 6,000-ton cruisers between 1939 and 1945 to replace the Tenryu, Kuma, and Nagara-class cruisers. These vessels were intended to be the flagships for 6 destroyer squadrons and 7 submarine squadrons. The new design was finalized in October 1937, however, construction was delayed due to overloading of the Japanese shipyards. Construction costs came to 16.4 million yen per vessel. Design: the design for the Agano-class was based on technologies developed by aboard the cruiser Yubara, resulting in a graceful and uncluttered deckline and single smokestack. Unlike most Japanese designs, the Agano-class was not overweight, so it exhibited good stability and seaworthiness. The Agano-class was armed with 6 152mm Type 41 guns in 3 gun turrets. These guns were also used on the Kongo-class battle cruisers, some of these weapons having been removed from the Fusilier-class battleships and the Kongo-class during the modernizations in the early and late 1930s, respectively. This gun fired a 100-pound projectile 22,970 yards. The Agano-class was unique among Japanese cruisers in that its main armament could elevate to 55 degrees, but this was still not enough to make them effective as anti-aircraft weapons. Secondary armament included 4 76mm Type 98 DP guns designed specifically for the class, in 2 twin turrets amidships. Anti-aircraft weapons included 2 triple 25mm AA guns in front of the bridge, and 2 twin 13mm mans near the mast. The class also had 2 quadruple torpedo launches for Type 93 torpedoes located below the flight deck, with 8 reserve torpedoes. The torpedo tubes were mounted on the centerline, as was more common with destroyers, and had a rapid reload system with 8 spare torpedoes. Being mounted on the centerline allowed the twin launches to fire to either port of starboard, meaning that a full 8-torpedo broadside could be fired, whereas a ship with separate port and starboard launchers can only fire half of its torpedoes at a time. 2 depth charge rails and 18 depth chargers were also installed aft. The class was also equipped with 2 Aichi-13A aircraft. The first 2 vessels in the class had a larger flight deck with a 26-foot catapult. The later Yafaji and Sakawe had a shorter 19-meter catapult. The engines were a quadruple shaft-geared turbine arrangement with 6 boilers in 5 boiler rooms, developing 100,000 shp for a maximum speed of 35 knots. Like Yubara, the Agano-class had its stacks joined into a single funnel. All of the vessels in the class were updated with additional anti-aircraft weaponry and radar at various points in the service lives. Ships in class 4 ships were budgeted under the 1939 Fourth Naval Replenishment Program, 3 from the Sasebo Naval Arsenal and 1 from Yokosuka Naval Arsenal. Agano completed on the 31st of October 1942. Agano participated in the battles for Guadalcanal and the Solomon Islands during 1943. Agano was badly damaged in Rabaul Harbor by aircraft from the aircraft carriers US Saratoga and US Princeton, and in a subsequent attack by aircraft from TF-38 on the 11th of November she received a torpedo hit. Ordered to home waters for repair, she was torpedoed and sunk north of Truk by the U.S. submarine Skate on the 16th of February 1944. Noshiro commissioned on the 30th of June 1943. Noshiro participated in operations in the Solomon Islands and was damaged during the U.S. carrier aircraft raids on Rabaul on the 5th of November 1943. She served in the Marianas in the summer of 1944, and was part of Admiral Kurita's force during the Battle of the Philippine Sea. At the Battle of Leyte Gulf in October 1944, she was west of Panay while withdrawing from the Battle off Samar on the morning of the 26th of October when she was sunk by aircraft from US Wasp and US Cowpens. Yaf Haji commissioned on the 29th of December 1943. Yaf Haji saw action in the Marianas in May-June 1944, during the Battle of the Philippine Sea, and during the Battle of Leyte Gulf. After the U.S. invasion of Okinawa on the 1st of April 1945, she was ordered to accompany the battleship Yamato on its suicide mission against the American fleet at Okinawa. Yaf Haji was hit by some 7 torpedoes as well as a dozen bombs, and sank on the afternoon of the 7th of April 1945. Sakawa was not completed until the end of 1944, by which time there was little fuel available. She survived the war unscratched and was used as a transport to return demilitarized troops from New Guinea and other areas after the war. She was expended in the atom bomb tests at Bikini Atoll in 1946.